Hello, 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 and thank you for joining me once again for the series that I'm doing on overcoming negative reactions when triggered by your mate. And many of us get triggered by different things. It's hard for me to believe that no one gets triggered about anything. Um, but maybe there's somebody out there who has that experience. For those of you who do not know me, I am Melva Johnson, co founder of the Johnson Relationship Institute for Couples. Um, and this series, if you have been following the series, this series is about sharing one important quality that love and marriage has. There's many qualities, but the one I'm focusing on is how partners in relationship react when they're triggered by their mate. And one of the reasons why I'm focusing on this is because it's in the love and marriage environment that each partner has an opportunity to become aware of their impact on the other person. Now, most people that I work with when I'm working with couples, when we start the work, the complaints are about what the other person did or the other person did not do. That leads to the other person feeling angry, frustrated, disrespected, unappreciated, and what have you. And so the first thought is not about how am I showing up in the situation? Am I reacting in a way that's going to bring us closer, uh, drive us further apart? Or am I going to respond in a way that will invite an invitation for conversation and hopefully dissolving the issue through conversation, resolving it through some kind of behavior change, or managing it in some way? And so this series is about sharing success stories of couples who have been triggered by different issues and providing cliff notes of what they were struggling with, what they did about it, and the results that they experienced. So, in this ninth segment, I'm sharing a success story about a couple I'm calling Wade and Wanda. And like I've said before, if there is a Wade and Wanda watching or listening, I haven't met you, so I'm not talking about you. Um, so this couple has been married for about 23 years, and they have a couple of children who are living at home. Well, one is in college, so that one comes home periodically for holidays and weekends and what have you. So here's the issue that they have been dealing with. Um, and it's been it's been building up over the years. It's about having a conflict in the expression of affection and intimacy. So, what I mean by that is that, well, when they first came together during the romantic stage, is that they had a connection on all levels: sexual chemistry, emotional connection, spiritual connection. They could talk about just about anything, so they had that intellectual kind of thing going on, and that's what helped them to build a strong connection and bond. So something happened after their first child was born. That intensity that they had in the beginning began to fade because they had more responsibilities and they just had so much more going on that they didn't have the time to spend with each other like they did before. And so what happened was, since they were aware of what it is that they wanted more of while they were going through the changes of one child being born and then another child being born, um, and all of the responsibilities that they had for that, plus they worked. They were aware that there was a gradual erosion of their feeling of connection. And what happened was they had a feeling in two different areas of connection, motion, and affection. So Wanda needed and wanted more emotional support. I mean, because she enjoyed having that kind of nurturing kind of connection with Wade. Um, she wanted to talk about feelings and her experiences, and she just needed to have reassurance from him. So she needed that more, or she needed that first. Well, Wade wanted more physical connection because that's when he felt closest to Wanda from the beginning. And she felt an emotional connection with him from the beginning, but that began to fade. And what happened was with them, and it happens with many couples, is that when there is something missing, when couples don't have a way to talk about it in a way that they can work through it, then they argue. And so Wade and Wanda argued and argued and argued. And she was left feeling um, lonely, and he was left feeling rejected. Rejected. I mean, he was feeling rejected to the point that he even considered having an affair with a sexy coworker who consistently complimented him and told him how fabulous he was. So he was really tempted. However, he did have the presence of mind to decide that he wanted to work this out at home. It's like he really believed that they could do it if they could find a way. And so what happened on the other end was that Wanda was aware that Wade was feeling rejected. And she was aware that, maybe if they didn't get this together, that he may go elsewhere to get his needs met. And so she got to the point, and she shared this with him, that she was tired of arguing. And when they were arguing, they didn't use these words about emotional connection, sexual connection. Well, Wade did complain when he's about Wanda that their sex life had really gone downhill. So they didn't have a way to talk about it, but they decided that they had to find a way because there was too much stress between the two of them. They said, we need to be working together. I mean, we do love each other and we have these wonderful children. And they were also aware that all of that arguing had a negative impact on the children, even the one who was away from college, because when he came home for the weekends and holidays, it was like, oh man, are they arguing again? So they decided, we really do have to talk about this. And Wade also said, I'm just so tired of sleeping in the guest room so often. So Wanda was on the same page with him because she wanted to have the conversation to express to him what was missing for her, how she felt neglected because she wanted that conversation, that emotional connection with him. And so they got support to get a structure, a way of having the conversation to communicate. And these are the 3 steps that I have mentioned in the other segments as well, because they are the first step, no matter what you are dealing with. And that's why I'm sharing so many different issues that couples are working with, and sharing about couples who have had success in working the issues through, starting with the first steps. So the first steps, so they discovered through getting support, they found a structure and a way of talking to each other in a way that the other could hear. So Wade was there to talk about what was going on with him and how vulnerable he was because he wasn't getting his needs met. And Wanda was able to listen. And, people talk about active listening. Wanda was able to listen with interest and, and curiosity. Excuse me. And Wade was able to do the same for her. So they talked and they listened and they talked and they peeled away the layers until they got to the root of the problem and what was really going on. And then when they found out the root of the problem, then they had a focus on resolving that. So they started off with, they knew it was important to have a safe conversational environment to stay on track because they already knew how to talk in a way that the other person could hear. And they had discovered how to listen in a way the other person felt heard. But they had to have a way to stay on track because they, along with other human beings, they're hardwired to function the way that they function over the years. And so during the tough times, they needed to have a way to stay together and work things through. Because change is difficult. Change is tough. And when it gets tough, it's so easy to throw in the towel and say, well, this is not working. I tried everything. No, no, everything has not been tried. It's like people give up too soon when they're introduced to new tools, new strategies, and new ways of getting things done because their comfort zone is in doing and functioning and reacting the way that they have learned to do over the years. And so I like what Doctors Harville Hendricks and Helen Kelly Hunt, the founders of Imago Relationship Therapy, say, and that is, you have to have a way to stay in the canoe and paddle together, even when the waters are turbulent. So they discovered how to do that. And so they stayed on track. They worked it through. It was really, really difficult. And they were successful. And I think you'll see a theme over what I have shared over the past well, this is the ninth one segment, that they did very specific things. So in the talking and the listening, they began to understand the depth. Like Wade began to understand the depth of the pain for Wanda, that she didn't have that emotional connection. And she was able to do the same for him. And with that understanding, they were able to come up with and this sounds kind of businesslike, but it does work. They came up with a plan, action steps, strategy about what they were going to do so that both of their needs were met. And as they worked together, and this didn't happen overnight, because change, and this kind of change, it doesn't happen overnight, but each step that the couple takes, each step that each partner takes, does begin to build up momentum. And so even in the process of building momentum and getting to the place that they wanted to get to, they felt successful. They made sure that they were going to stay on track, even with their busy lives and busy parenting. They decided that they were going to make their connection a priority, that they were going to take time to nurture their relationship. And so, even though these are cliff notes in terms of what happened and the success that they experienced, that the bigger picture is about providing hope that whatever you're going through, if the two of you want to work together, there is a way, there is hope. So if you are in a love relationship or a marriage and can relate to Wanda and Wade, and you have had success moving forward, it could be a tiny success or it could be a big success. I'm wondering if you would be willing to share like one thing that you did that got you started down that path to experiencing more success and working it through. Just the first step, just the first step. Because when you have success with the first step, then you have a high likelihood that you're going to have success at the second step if you keep moving forward, and then the next step, and then the next step. So if you've had success in that area, would you be willing to share it? And if you are struggling with a situation like this, with an issue like this, like Wanda and Wade, feel free to ask a question. And you don't have to do it in the comment section. You can send me a direct question and we can have a conversation. So, so this is something that I want to keep sharing with all of you as the lights just went out. The lights just went out. This is something that I want to keep sharing with you as we work through these different issues, because I want to support couples to work things out. The goal is to reduce the divorce rate and to increase couples celebrating everlasting love so that they thrive together. I'm looking forward to connecting next time. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.